Good morning, good night, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nico, and I am uploading a video to YouTube every single day, so I get better at speaking to the camera, and so I get better at making content. Pretty much, I like to talk about business, philosophy, self-development, and a little bit of social commentary. Today, I decided to make a video because of something that happened yesterday. If you don't already know, and by the way, I expect none of you to know, but if you didn't already know, I'm doing a little series on my Instagram. It's the same as my YouTube username, Nico Idrovo, where I challenge myself to approach a stranger every single day. All I have to do is start a conversation by just asking a question. And yesterday I was at the airport, at Manchester Airport. I need to breathe. That's what I need to do to speak better. I was at Manchester Airport in England, and there was a bunch of groups that I wanted to approach. They seemed nice, but I chickened out. Eventually, I found this group of people and I went up to them. And the question that I asked was, if you had one piece of advice to give to the world, what would it be? They all said their answer, and then this one girl said, "What about you?" And I kind of stood there frozen, and I kind of mumbled a little bit, and I gave an answer that didn't make too much sense. So I want to explain my answer. I'm going to tell you what I said, and I'm going to elaborate on it better. When she said that, I was a little bit frozen. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on the spot." And I was like, "I'm a little bit of a weird guy, because I don't believe in free will. So you have to use the non-free will that you do not have." It was a whole. I was being a whole blabbermouth. But at the end, I was like, "Just choose beliefs that serve you. Just choose beliefs that serve you. Belief thoughts that serve you." Let me tell you, real quick, how that has helped me. I'm a firm believer that who you are starts with what you believe, because the sequence goes like this: beliefs turn into actions, actions turn into habits, habits kind of dictate who you are, and it starts with beliefs. Of course, it's not. Hold on, let me explain this real quick. It's not a sequence like this goes first. It's kind of like a cycle. But I find the part that's easier to change, the part that's the most fundamental to everything else, is your beliefs. What you believe to be true. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of limiting beliefs that prevent you from doing something. Other gurus out there on YouTube will tell you to not make excuses. And I think that's kind of true, but a better way to say that, which also sounds better and doesn't get people to be as defensive. Like, imagine someone struggling and you tell him and he wants to change, and you just give him the basic answer of stop making excuses. I think you should probably tell him to choose your beliefs. Believe things that serve you. What do I mean by this? When people bring up excuses, it's usually a form of procrastination. It's usually a form of immediate defensiveness. Like, let me give you a concrete example. Someone tells you start going to the gym. You're gonna come up with an excuse like, "I don't have time, I don't have the money." But in reality, it's just not a priority. How can you change your belief there? You have to make the gym a priority, but now how do you change beliefs? First, I'm going to tell you how I actually managed to change my beliefs. Back in the day, I was really struggling. I was eating junk food 24/7. I was having no friends, sitting in bed all day. But I was still like, despite this, I was watching self-improvement content, but I just couldn't take action on it. Uh, Long story short, I made a friend in an online community, and I was on a call with his dad because he was a pastor or something, but he was like not a normal Christian pastor. And he said one thing that I will never forget. He was asking me, "What do you think you do this?" And I say, "Oh, it's just because I'm lazy." And he told me, "Don't think that. Stop looking at yourself that way." And I asked him, "Do you want me to literally just stop thinking of that?" He told me yes. And in that moment, something clicked in me. Why am I calling myself lazy? This belief that I accepted as truth was fundamental to me being lazy. Little by little, when I felt ugly, I simply told myself, I acknowledged the thought. I like was conscious of myself thinking that thought in my head, and then I diverted my attention elsewhere. And that's how you change. You gotta be conscious of a thought, see it coming, and literally do anything else. And by the way, this is so hard. I still struggle with this. Today I was feeling really ugly at the gym. I've gained a lot of weight. I'm not gonna lie. And I was feeling really bad. I'm gonna act out what I felt. And the gym was like, I know, sorry, so cringe. Of course, I didn't do that at the gym, but so I had to keep reminding myself, don't don't think that. Just divert your attention. You can't do anything. Choose your beliefs better. Easier said than done, but little by little, you have to repeat, 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 repeat for the rest of your life. Literally for the rest of your life. There's gonna be times where there are brutal truths. There are brutal truths that you need to accept, and you're gonna have to sort of like delude yourself into being an optimist, into thinking, I don't know, for example, say you're late to work. Literally choose your beliefs. Believe that you were late to work because if you weren't late to work, you would have gotten in a car crash. Stupid shit like that. It works. It works. God bless you if you believe in love, then you already believe in God because God is love, but who am I to know? I'm just a human.